So when Ra first taught human design, he didn't teach type. He didn't have the information about type. And he was told by the voice, it'll be revealed to you later that there are different types that have different ways of creating. Yes, in the beginning, Ra was not informed about type. And yes, in the beginning, according to Ra, he was told that later he would be told about type. And then later he came out with type. Now, in the beginning, when he taught type, he taught that there are manifestors, generators, projectors, and reflectors. And he really wasn't a big fan of 5 types, even though came around later and said, well, yeah, maybe. But not until manifesting generators started to really bug him and go, we don't relate to this. He classified manifesting generators as manifestors.
Mhm.
And then he reclassified them as generators. And then I think towards the end, he was sort of like, okay, well, maybe. I actually,
Okay.
I've scrolled through this Instagram post before too. And I personally have some of the same issues that they have with the way traditional human design especially is really sort of trotting out, and I see this stuff everywhere. I actually did a video about this a couple of weeks ago. This whole like you're a this is like time out. We all have all of the chart. These are archetypes that are universal archetypes as part of the human story, and we relate to all of it. We're hardwired to have different agendas, different things we're learning, different ways of interfacing with the world, different themes around our relationships. And each chart is way too complex to just say, oh, this is a generator, boom. And this is, I think, why I always tell you guys study level 4, go to level 4, because there's more than just type, strategy, authority. That being said, if you only follow type, strategy, and authority, it's a good set of training wheels to move you into where the next right lesson is for you to keep deconditioning yourself. Meaning, when I say deconditioning, I'm not talking about the open centers and the themes of the open centers. Obviously, that's in the part of it. I'm talking about letting go of any old narrative that you are holding where you bought into the lie that is not okay for you to be who you are or how you are. So, human design is a really beautiful tool that has at its heart the intention to teach you how to discover for yourself your own authority over what's right for you or not. And most of us are going to get there by type and strategy and authority. And certainly, most of us are also going to get there by understanding our openness, but also our definition. And it's not static. It's not static, it's dynamic. And that means, especially if the job is to connect you to your inner authority, and this is actually why I left traditional human design in the beginning, is I said, what happens if your inner authority says, human design is not for me? And that happens for some people, not anybody on this call, hopefully, but for some people, we're like, that's not working for me. But if your internal response to that is correct, then it's correct for you to walk away from human design, right? And yet, traditional human design will be like, oh, well, you're just living out the not self theme. There's a whole lot of blowback around you following your own authority if it doesn't toe the line with this pedagogy that has nothing to do with the original intent of human design. To me, that is the conundrum in human design. You have a system that's designed to teach people to follow their own path, but it's also a pedagogy. And if they start to follow their own path, you're like, nah, you're doing it wrong. You can't do that. And that doesn't make sense. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. I feel like type, strategy, and authority are kind of training wheels that we follow them in the beginning, because for many of us in the beginning we're so disconnected from our inner authority that we need bumpers, and we need practice, and we have to get back into remembering, oh yeah, this is what divine voice sounds like inside of me. We need help remembering and vetting all those voices in our heads that are like, go do this, go do that, go do this, right? So, if we follow type and strategy and authority, it gives us enough consistency in how we engage with the outer reality that we learn to sense and remember, oh, this is what divine guidance feels like. Oh, I remember this. That's that place where I was when I was 4. And all of this came naturally to me before I learned or unlearned it, right? I'm so hesitant to say this because I really, really want to throw this down as a red flag on the play. Take this very carefully. But at a certain point, you might be able to give that up because you'll get good enough at vetting the voices in your head. You'll be able to know, oh, this is a divine idea. I'm supposed to follow this one. People ask me all the time, should I follow the voices in my head? What if I have an idea? I'm like, you should or you shouldn't. It depends. And I'm going to share something from my own personal experience. And this is not the guidelines. I'm not saying you have to be like me. You don't. You have to be like you. I have a 36-year transcendental meditation practice. It has trained me very, very well in conjunction with my human design to know how to vet the inspirations I encounter. I can feel in my body the difference between you need to go do this versus me going, oh my God, am I going to make payroll this week? What do I need to do? What class do I need to do? What do I, there's a whole different dialogue that happens in those, that inner alignment. And knowing how to follow my type and strategy was essential with transcendental meditation to reconnect me back to, oh, that feels right. I forgot what it feels like to feel that this feels right. And now that I have had the experience enough of this, knowing, how to follow what feels right, I'm better able to vet what feels right. And I don't always have to wait for something to respond to. I wake up with a heck ton of ideas, you can ask Kristen. And I know that those are the ones I'm supposed to be following because I know how they feel versus the ones that are like, you should do this. There's a difference in the way they feel inside of me. So yes, follow type and strategy and authority and do it with the understanding that this is a really good healing way, a healing tool to use to help you remember, oh yeah, I have this innate wisdom. I have this deep inner sense of knowingness about what's good and right for me. And I forgot it because I was told, oh, you can't do that. Or I was criticized because I did it. And everybody was like, that's not reasonable. Or whatever happened to you that caused you to disconnect from that. Type strategy and authority is here to help you heal that. Do you have to live that way for the rest of your life? No. Do you use your type strategy and authority as an excuse to tell yourself I can't do these things because I'm a projector, I'm a reflector, I'm a generator, I'm a manifesting generator, I'm a manifester, I'm mean, or I have a crappy attitude because I'm a manifester or I'm a generator? I hear that too, and that also bothers me a lot. It's not an excuse to show up without consciously choosing how you're going to show up for the world. It's a way of forgiving yourself if you forget, because you will. It's a way of understanding, oh, this is a signal to me that something's out of whack on the internal plane. I need to pay attention, but it's not, this is how I am, therefore I can act this way. And this is how I am, and therefore I don't have to do all this other stuff. It's just a tool to help you remember who you are. And ultimately, I mean, and part of why I created quantum human design is it's not just a tool to help you remember who you are. There's also a bridge to help you step into a more expanded expression of your higher purpose. And even that's dynamic. There's never an end point. You're always going to grow into it and you're always going to become it every day.